All right. How can we help with teens' lack of sleep? By me. Let's go. All right. Every day for school, I wake up at 6 a.m. I sit in my bed and look at the morning sky. The sun's not even up yet. And at this hour, I'm usually quite cranky, and all I want to do is go back to bed, and I don't want to go to school. Despite my intriguing thoughts, I get up, I get dressed, brush my hair and teeth, and head downstairs to see my sisters waiting for me. At this time, the sun is just starting to rise, and it's an hour before my parents or my dog will wake up. Together, we gather things and we head out to the car. Now, I don't like Grace is usually the one who drives in the morning because I do not manage well when I'm tired. If I do drive while I'm tired, I turn into a grandmother going 30 in a 45 zone. It's not that good. We usually arrive at school at 7:30, and during certain times of the year, I am able to see the sky completing its transformation to daytime. When first period begins, I feel like an actual zombie, and as I look across the room, everyone else feels the same, except for one person, my teacher. How is she so awake and ready to teach? I'm about to tell you that right now. All right. The reason why she is so awake is because adults have a different mental alarm clock than teens do. If you don't know what a mental alarm clock is, a mental alarm clock is actually called the amygdala, and it's the part of the brain that tells you when you need to go to bed and when you need to wake up. The amygdala is located in the limbic system, or the emotional part of the brain, and it's about the size of an almond. Also, during puberty, teens start needing more sleep because they start producing a hormone called melatonin, which then makes them even more sleepy than usual. So, if to put in perspective, if a teen wakes up at 6 a.m., it's similar to an adult waking up at 4 a.m. It's not that good. Also, when teens wake up before they're mentally supposed to, they're more likely to experience certain problems. I don't know if any of you saw this study a couple years ago, but the Today Show showcased a study that was conducted by AAA, and they talked about how if a person drives while being tired, they're more likely to get into car crashes. Like if you're being sleep, they compared if you're being sleepy or groggy while one is tired, they have the same effect as driving while being intoxicated. That's terrifying. Not only does sleepy increases your chance of getting into car crashes, but it also causes a lot of health problems. The CDC warns that a lack of sleep increases a person's risk for obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, coronary heart disease, stroke, poor mental health, and even early death. That report reminds me so much of those drug commercials where they, at the end, they list all the possible side effects that this drug can have, and then the list just seems to go on and on and on and on. Also, a lack of sleep causes symptoms that are similar to a person having ADHD. It causes them to zone off more during classes. They get distracted and have a harder time completing homework and classwork. Well, why don't you tell them to go to bed early? Well, going to bed early does help, but it takes a while for you to reset your mental alarm clock. I watched a video of how I can reset my mental alarm clock, and he described it's similar to going on a diet. A person needs to be motivated and keep practicing. That's hard. And I don't know about you guys, but not a lot of teens have that motivation to change their time. So, because like teens, we have a bunch of homework projects to do, tests to do, and some of us have after school jobs and team practices that last later than 8 p.m. More teens care about like a lot more things than getting a proper amount of sleep every night. So, how do we help teens get more sleep? If I would have my way in the world, I would change every school start time to begin at the very earliest 8:30 a.m. Many studies have shown that schools that change their start times by at least 35 minutes saw a 4.5 increase in final grades, a decrease in tardiness, an increase in alertness and engagement in classes. However, with all this evidence, many schools do not change their start times because there are a lot of people who oppose it or don't want it to change. including parents who are not really able to drop off their kids later in the morning because they have work. After school programs have to run later and to adjust to the new school schedule. And it's also a hassle for the school itself because they actually have to sit down and actually plan out the schedule. And it's a lot easier to avoid this problem. But here's the thing. I believe Cape Fear Academy should conduct a experiment next year. I would like to next year, I would like to see if by changing your schedule by a little bit can help improve a student's health. So I took the liberty of coming up with a plan for you guys. All right. So I believe we should adjust our flex schedule. Now, for the record, I strongly believe that flex is a very beneficial thing, and it's very helpful for students and parents to collaborate and have extra time. However, I would like to change one of the two flex days or like rearrange it. I would like one of the flex days to begin in the morning. So it would look something like this. You would have flex in the morning, then a period, then break, and then the next period, then lunch, and the last two periods. So having flex in the morning still allows parents who are unable to drop their kids off later in the day to drop them off as usual. Since flex is in the morning and it is a flex schedule, it will not interfere with after-school programs or practices. And since classes are later in the day, students will be more awake during classes. And finally, this schedule will allow some students to get that extra hour of sleep they desperately need. Now, this change is not the solution to the age-old problem of sleepy teens. It's an experiment for Cape Fear Academy to test and to see if a couple of extra minutes to see if this can actually work and help improve students' health. So if it works, great, that's awesome. It's going to be a stepping stone to help CFA students. So go further, Canes, and start school later. Thank you.